everyone, and hi, Reema Ben. It's so wonderful to see you and have this conversation with you today. And welcome to the show. And I just wanted to give you a little background of this is something we are doing with INKHer. We are interviewing about 49 women of Indian origin, and the whole idea is that 49.6% of the world is women. So we said, let's talk to 49 women, and we are really thrilled because this is an association that goes across generations, and I'm really excited to see have talk about today about SEWA, the Self-Employment Women's Association. You have really like kind of seen this grow in front of your eyes, I think, and I just wanted to spend some time instead of giving a long bio. I thought we'll spend some time today talking about the history, talking about some other things, and see how we can learn about your life, your legacy, etc. Well, not ready for legacy yet, but your life. And so I just thought maybe you can tell us, Rima, when you have, every time I talk, there's a million more women have been added to SEWA, and it's the largest women's cooperative movement, I guess, anywhere across the globe, not just in India. And I think under your leadership, it has expanded to focus on entrepreneurship a lot. And I think there's a lot of women business owners, etc. So tell us a little bit about something that started as a cooperative movement to unite the not quite undocumented, but grassroots women has expanded to actually an entrepreneurship organization. So tell us about that extension and about some of the women.
Namaste, and thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be speaking with you today. And as you rightly said, yes, we are today almost 3.2 million women members at SEWA. I think, as you rightly said, when SEWA was founded way back in 1972 by our founder, Ila Bhatt, we began as a trade union under the Textile Labor Association, which was founded by Mahatma Gandhi, and organizing the women workers in the informal sector. Mainly, all these women workers were, the wives of the textile mill workers in the formal sector, but they were all in the informal sector, working either as head loaders in the cloth market or selling old clothes on the streets. And that's how SEWA started organizing them, addressing their smaller needs or issues. Their needs were for small capital, maybe 50 rupees a day or 100 rupees a day, but no bank was willing to lend that small amount to them.
Yeah.
Or since they were selling, old clothes on the streets or fruits or vegetables on the streets, they were seen as, obstructing the traffic, encroaching the public spaces. And 11 thought that, they need to be organized in order to address their needs. And that's how SEWA began in 1972. But, in our country, as you know very well, 93% of the workforce is in the informal sector.
Yes, yeah.
Where there is surplus of labor.
And a big chunk of it is women. Yeah.
And there is surplus of labor and less of employment opportunities. And therefore, one has to create alternative opportunities. So today we are predominantly labor movement, a cooperative movement, and a women's movement. I say this precisely because when you create alternative opportunities in order to give, sustained work and income to the members, you have to create members' own economic organizations.
Yes,
and that's where, your point of entrepreneurship, building women's own enterprises comes. And that's how you build the collective strength and bargaining power of these women as workers, so that they don't just remain as workers or producers, but they
Correct.
also become the owners and managers of their own trades and
Mm-hmm.
enterprises. So,
Mm-hmm.
if in short, if you say it's a joint strategy of struggle and development, so you
Mm-hmm.
identify what are the struggles of these women as workers, as producers, or what are their small needs or issues, and then
Mm-hmm.
try to create alternative opportunities that would, address these issues or address the needs of our members.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's how, the women just don't remain workers or producers, but they also become owners and managers. So
Yeah.
it's a joint strategy again of union and collective. So we began as cooperatives, but
Mm-hmm.
today, since we are in almost 20 states of the country,
Yeah.
you have collectives as, for-profit companies, not-for-profit companies, associations, producer companies. And that's how women build their entrepreneurial skills. And that's why we are called the Self-Employed Women's Association.
Yeah.
That
And
every
how
woman
many do
is
you
a,
think?
sorry,
Sorry, go ahead.
no,
I'm
no, no.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, therefore, every woman is a self-employed woman. She's also
Correct.
a tiny or a nano entrepreneur herself.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. And I think having that economic freedom to decide the money on their own money is also very important, because a lot of times I see when somebody is a housewife, they feel it's not my money. And I say, of course it is your money, So, but women feel that, oh, it's my husband's the one who's making the money, it's not mine. So, sometimes I feel that the middle class women who are stay-at-home moms have less economic freedom than a woman who has a little tea shop or something, who feels, this is my money. I think it's a some of it is in your mind also, of owning your economic freedom. And I think, starting over 50 years ago with Ela Ben and continuing with you, you guys have given voice to millions of women. So I was going to ask, of the women members that you have, how many entrepreneurs do you have? How many women have their own businesses? I mean, like actual businesses. I mean, they're all self-employed, but I was just curious how many of them incorporated companies and stuff like that.
If you go to see, I would say almost 80% of them have their own enterprises, or they may have their own individual enterprise as well, or a small, tiny micro enterprise. She may be
Yeah.
giving work to, maybe 8 or 10 women. She
Mm-hmm.
started herself as an entrepreneur, but then gradually, with access to market, with access to capital, she's then able to, grow her own enterprise and have more women taken under her fold.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, if you go to see, I would say almost 80% of our members today have their own enterprises. And it's a whole range of different enterprises that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Since almost 2/3 of our members are rural,
Mm-hmm.
and agriculture is in our country, in India, still a major
Yeah,
occupation. So we
of
have our
course.
own agribusiness initiative. It's a for-profit company called Rudy, which procures from very small women farmers. She may only have 5 kilograms of surplus grain or vegetable to sell, but we still procure from them. And that's how you increase their bargaining power. And that's how you give them
Yeah.
access to market. So it procures from these women farmers, grades, processes, packages, and then redistributes it,
Mm-hmm.
both within the villages but also outside. And that's how we are also ensuring food security at the household level.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
farmer gets fair returns, and the women in the households have access to food security, because we have a cadre of saleswomen whom we call as Rudy Bens, who go from village to village and sell. So landless laborers also now have, a very decent and dignified opportunity. She then becomes a dealer, so therefore she has, several other rudiments under her fold. Similarly, we have an green energy enterprise, which is again run
Ah,
by women themselves. It's called Haryali. We have our artisans, like we always wear what our members make. So
yeah.
we have our textile and garment workers enterprise. We have construction workers who have their own cooperatives, waste
Mhm.
collectors and recyclers who have their. So we are like a banyan tree now.
Correct, yeah.
So the trunk is parent is SEWA, which organizes these women as entrepreneurs, as workers, and the leaves are the 3.2 million members. And then the branches are the very many different enterprises of our members, which take roots,
Hmm.
and we complement and supplement each other. So no matter how strong the wind current is, or what side it would take you, but the banyan tree has remained, uh, you
Gives
know,
you the shade as well, yeah.
yeah, hopefully, yes. And but we are 53-year-old today, but still a young organization, as
Correct.
40% of our members are younger women.
Yeah. And so, I mean, do these organizations incorporate as companies? Because the government has a lot of schemes for small, medium businesses, etc. So, do they incorporate? Do they seek some of those funds and all that stuff?
Definitely, each one is a registered enterprise. Initially, they work as informal enterprises till these women learn. So we have our own manager school. We call it
Yeah.
as SEWA Manager School, where we have designed short mini MBA programs. We also do short capsules on costing, pricing, business planning. So till the women are able to, imbibe those managerial skills, we run it as an informal enterprise, but otherwise then they are all registered either as cooperatives or as for-profit entities, companies or not-for-profit companies,
Yeah.
producer companies as well, or associations of salt
Hmm.
pan workers, or
Yeah.
or farmers or construction workers. And
Yeah.
at SEWA, we always believe that we identify what the needs of these enterprises are, and then try to link up as much as possible with the
Hmm.
government programs and schemes, rather than create parallel programs and structures.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think that way it also gives what you were saying, voice and
Yeah.
visibility
Correct.
to
Yeah.
these tiny and micro enterprises as well.
Yeah.
That way we have our own cooperative bank, Seva Bank. So the women are also able to seek tiny loans till they
Mm.
become credit worthy, and they can access finances from other nationalized banks as well.
Mhm. Because one of the things we talk about a lot in the corporate sector or in general in the entrepreneurial sector is how few women are at top positions or how few women have their own businesses, etc. And maybe we get very myopic in looking at only a tech sector or only at a large corporate or whatever. If you tell me 80% of these women have their own businesses, that's over 2 million women, who have their own businesses. And so it's a huge number. So I always feel that there are so many lessons a middle class or a corporate women can learn from the women of Seva. So, what are some of the things you have watched or seen in terms of women becoming independent, economically independent, claiming their own voices that can serve as a lesson to maybe the corporate leadership or women at work who are wondering how do they balance home and life and how do they work, do they not work, like we all have first world problems, right? So but these women are out there, there's no time to pontificate. They're out there doing the job. So what are some of the lessons we all can learn in terms of work ethic, in terms of being an entrepreneur, in terms of being economically independent more than anything else?
So I'll start by giving you two anecdotes, and then what are the lessons or what have I learned myself?
Yeah.
Having worked over 4 decades with our members now. And when I first started working and organizing the women in the very dry, arid areas of Gujarat, it was known as Banaskantha. These women thought that, what is this young city bred? What is she going to make a difference for us? And so the first time I went to their village, they literally pushed me out. They were so hostile. And yet I, persisted going to their villages, and then they wanted to know that where I live, where I come from. So I gave them the address of, where was I staying in a small town near their village. So at 5:30 in the morning, after 2 days, a group of women knocked at my door. And I was like, it's 5:30. And they said, yeah, the first bus left the village, and since you had given us the address, they were literally wanting to test whether,
Yeah,
what I
like, will you receive them or not? Yeah.
exactly, and what I was really wanting to work with them and be with them. And so we had tea together. They sat there for a while, and after about a month, it was the same women who would go to other villages and talk to the women why they should organize, what is the importance of organizing. And, same way when we had started organizing women in Kashmir, I remember that, a 21-year-old Rubina, um, there was so much of hostility in the villages. The young girls had, how can young girls come out? But, still those women built courage. They came to SEWA here in Ahmedabad. And, young Muslim girl who had lost her father in all the turmoil, she wanted to study, but could not continue because of the household situation, and she had to help her mother with all the household chores. That time, the family only had one meal a day. But when she came here, she saw how women were, assembling solar lights, and they were installing them, and they were going from village to village and selling those solar lights. She felt that if this women can do this and change their destiny, so can I. And her confidence, it was so much built from within that she really wanted to address the drudgery of her mother in collecting firewood, because Kashmir is so cold and there's no electricity. So if she had such a solar panel and a solar light, it would address. And today, Rubina is an entrepreneur, and she has her own solar enterprise in Kupwara. And of course, the men challenged her, and there was a solar light in the mosque, and they said, oh, if you can repair this. It was not working for 2 years, and in a flash, when she repaired it, and the Maulvi really sort of felicitated her. Today, she has 50 young girls who are working with her. So I think this is what gives you the needed strength and courage, that look,
Correct.
women who are facing so many struggles, challenges, and if still they can change their destiny, who are we? Why are we getting frustrated? And I think that is what I call as this constructive struggle. The second lesson I have learned over 4 decades is listen to the women, listen to these members. And once you listen to them, understand their needs and issues, then I think there is immense participation by these women. There's a sense of ownership and belongingness. So like Gauri Ben, who is an artisan, when she went with the president of India in a trade delegation, she was telling, to the president that, Madam President, you would have seen so many companies, but this is my company where I am the owner and the manager. So I think
Yeah.
the second lesson that I learned is that organizing is the surest way to fight poverty.
Yeah. Yeah.
The third is that the urban educated, youth or people like me can become a bridge between the
Yeah.
women who have meager resources and their communities and the mainstream of the economy, be it
Yeah.
market, be it finance, be it policy. Because, we have the needed skills through our education, exposure. We know how to present and connect their issues
Correct.
in a manner that people who have the resources and the authority can relate.
Mm-hmm.
And this definitely enables in changing the mindset of the
Yes.
policy makers. So,
Correct.
and the last, I think what I have learned is that it is possible to bring about a change only if we invest both time and resources.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I
And
think time being really key, because I think they need to
exactly,
trust you. It's like, as you said, they show up at 5:40 a.m. or whatever. They need
yeah.
to trust you. They need to know you'll be there and you'll
It
spend
will
time
be,
with them.
yeah, it has to be at their own pace.
Correct.
And
Correct.
I
Yeah.
think, so those are some of the key lessons that,
Yeah.
and you know,
You
the,
touched on this, Reema, when about the solar lamps, etc. There's been a huge focus for SEWA on clean energy and things. So, what are some of the things being done, and what else do you think could be done because that is the biggest, the, obstacle we face in the future, right? If we don't solve it, in the energy crisis, we may be, we don't, we may not even be having this conversation. So, what are some of the things you guys are doing, and at what scale, and what are some of the women doing in
so
that?
Lakshmi ji, there are three aspects to that. As I was saying that, at 53 years of organizing, we are still a young organization as 40% of our members are young. So their aspirations are very different.
Yes, yeah,
And how do you remain relevant to their aspirations so that they feel that whatever they opportunities they have, they bring more decent and dignified work and income for them. The second was that when we were completing 50 years, everybody was so excited and we had all these grand ideas of celebration. And we went with those ideas to 11, and she very patiently listened to all those ideas. And in the end, she just said one thing. And in one sentence, she said, but 50 years have already gone by. So the real celebration would be if SEWA remains relevant for another 50 years. And
hmm,
so we really understood that, oh wow, the celebration is that how do you address the newer challenges which are going to
correct,
come?
yeah,
And the one big challenge that came across all our 3.2 million members was the climate crisis.
yeah, yeah,
And that's where we plunged into a whole climate action campaign. We call it as our Building Cleaner Skies campaign. So at SEWA, we always say, Hum sab ek hai, we are all one. So it's
mhm,
time that now we also become one with the nature. How do you make your earth clean, your water clean, and your air clean? And
mhm,
that's where I think, transitioning to cleaner and greener sources of energy. And
mhm,
what does that just transition mean for
mhm,
the younger women, for the women? So, under this campaign, we do climate action at the household level, but at the village level and also, state and national level. So we have a huge climate school that works on green skilling of our members. How do you assemble, but also install, do the repairs and maintenance of the energy equipment, maybe solar panels, solar pumps, solar trap lights. And that way you build, climate entrepreneurs as well. We also have women-owned solar parks, the first of its kind in the whole country, where the poor women themselves are owning the a solar park. The women themselves install it, and then we sell the energy to the grid, and that provides them. How do you switch over to cleaner sources, including electric mobility? And I think that is the whole new area of green skilling and green enterprises. How does all your supply chain become low carbon supply chains also?
Now, can you put some number on it, like how many women have gone through the school, how many solar lamps have been put out there, or how many women have started businesses in this? Because I have a feeling it's, in your case, everything is in, millions. Give us a little bit of the school. It's amazing about the school that there's a reskilling school. How many
Yeah.
people go through it on an
So
average?
our climate school runs a whole Surya, we call it Surya program, which means the sun or the solar light. And we have so far trained around 7,000 young women
Wow.
to become solar technicians. And, they are also now linked with the Ministry of New and Renewable Energies portal where, we have this Prime Minister's, every house has a solar rooftop. So they are also installing solar rooftop. They are empaneled as, technicians, and they go and install. So up till now, around 50,000 houses have been installed with rooftop solar by these women. We have
Wow.
some 7,000 salt pan workers who have switched over to solar pumps instead of diesel pumps. We must have distributed close to 500,000 solar lights, efficient,
Wow.
and kits with efficient appliances. So it has a solar powered fan, LED lights, and 500,000 of them. And we also have installed close to 50,000 biogas at household level, and close to 50,000 farmers who have switched over to natural or regenerative farming. So we have women entrepreneurs who now run the agro enterprises. So they make biofertilizers, biopesticides, because through the climate school, I can make you aware that I should be using this, but where do I buy?
Correct.
And
Right.
that's where you have agro enterprises
Entrepreneurs. Yeah.
from where
Yeah.
farmers can buy all these cleaner and greener pesticides, fertilizers, other equipments like solar trap lights, solar fencing. And these climate entrepreneurs then, go and install it, do the maintenance and repairs of it.
Yeah.
And I think this is a new area where, the younger women feel that this is a much more decent and dignified
Now,
work.
your programs are in rural areas predominantly, but do you do things in the cities also? We have some questions actually about, in general, about how do we participate in SEWA, whether become members or in what way you can participate. And the other question we have from Asma is that I have 11 years of experience in and now I want to be part of an organization where I can make some impact as well as earn something for me and be financially independent. How can SEWA get me on track? Currently, I'm located in Kanpur. So, how do people get involved? You can say you're not in rural area, you're not qualified. How does it work?
No, we work with both urban poor as well as rural
Yeah.
poor. So, whoever is wanting to, give their expertise, give their know-how, we would always welcome them. But I would just like to make it very clear here that we are not like any INGO. So we are a poor women's organization. Of course, our name says SEWA, but it doesn't mean that you have to give free service. But at the same time, our principles are very, very, we follow certain Gandhian values and principles in our organizing. So if we are happy to accept that, anybody is welcome to come and contribute their know-how. I think there was
Can you tell us maybe a little bit about what are couple, 2 or 3 principles? I mean, just so people get a sense of, what
Sure.
they are.
I think we very much believe in simplicity, non-violence. So, you would see everywhere people like me at SEWA. Um, we don't adorn any makeup
Yeah.
or any jewelry or anything, so that, all women can feel that we are all equal. So we
Yeah.
give so truth, non-violence, simplicity. Also at SEWA, I think our one principle is that there should not be a big gap between the educated and the members of SEWA. So our remuneration ratio is 1:4. So the highest paid person at SEWA can earn 4 times more than what our entrepreneurs can make it.
Yeah.
And that makes us very grounded amongst our members. It does not create a wide gap between the educated, the privileged community and the ones who are, less privileged. So those are some of the principles which we've been able to adhere so far. The advantages are that we are able to attract people who have passion and, who are committed. The disadvantage is that sometimes you may not attract the best of the talent from the market, but we are not in.
So the question they're asking is if they are interested, should they go to the website and send a note, or what should they?
Definitely. We have a LinkedIn, so I can share those details.
Yeah.
Or they can visit our website as well.
Yeah. Okay. Now, talking about you personally, Reema, when you were in IAS and you left that, I mean, of course, your family, your father, I mean, they've all been involved in the labor movement, and you're married into Ila Ben's house, you're married to Ila Ben's son. I mean, you can't get too far away from anything to do with labor movement, but you went into IAS. And what was it like, and what made you decide to leave that and come here?
Yeah, as you rightly said, I had grown up in a family where labor discussions dominated. And
Right.
even today it is the same. But like any other city grown girl, you have ambitions that you want to do something
Yeah.
different, something big, and therefore I thought of taking the UPSC exams, not really sure if I would make it. And to my utter surprise, I made it. And that made me realize that, oh, my grandfather was with the Textile Labor Association from where SEWA was born. It's in my own city. So before taking up my actual posting, I went to SEWA. And I just thought that I would go and see what SEWA is doing. I wrote to them, never got any response. Even today, we are like that. Sometimes we are very prompt in responding, and sometimes we take our own time to respond. When we are not really sure how do you respond to certain queries. And I think after about 2-3 months, when I was asked to come and appear for an interview, I was asked to go and work in the rural areas. SEWA was just starting work in the rural areas, and Gujarat was experiencing successive droughts. And you had heard of poverty. You knew that India has a significant number of poor. But when you experience poverty, it becomes a life-changing experience. When I saw that working the whole day in the heat, without water, without food, the women would not go back, but they would start digging another site on the pond. And I saw that for 2-3 days, and then I walked up to them and I said, "Why aren't you going home?" And they said, one old lady showed me grass tubers, and she said that was their only meal. And I think
Mm.
that haunted me the whole night. I just could not sleep that, I so much of injustice. In spite of such hard work, um, you know, it made me understand what is poverty, what makes the poor so poor. Hard work and yet, honest hard work, but so much of deprivation. I think that
Mm. Mm.
made me take this bold decision that, let me work here,
Mm.
understand what are the barriers, what are the constraints, and then go
Mm-hmm.
back. I would be able to make a difference. And
Mm-hmm.
here I am,
Yeah.
and I think I'm making a lot of difference.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I didn't know about this that you don't, maybe I think, you know what, in to keep up with what you're doing, we should take off my jewelry
Oh,
and
no, no, I didn't mean to.
no, 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 because we'll take a picture together later. So it's like a
Ah,
seva photo. That's why.
great.
But I didn't know. Tell me a little bit. I mean, actually, there are some questions. Let me ask you, and then I have something to ask about that. Have you, oh, have you ever felt that you shouldn't have gone to IAS?
No, I think at times when you go out in the desert working whole day in the sun and it's so hot, and you come back, you want feel like having a nice cup of cold water, sit under the fan, and you realize that, oh wow, there's no electricity, there's
Yeah.
water, and it makes you feel that, do I really need to do all this? But then when you next day go back to those members of with whom you were the whole day yesterday, and they were in the same situation, but still, so hopeful, so smiling and welcoming, and
Mm.
you feel that why such small material things create frustration. And I think when you see the lives of your members changing, that
Mm-hmm.
after 5 years or 7 or 10 years, she's able
Mm-hmm.
to send her children to school. She has her proper house with a roof. She's able to have an asset of her own, and the kind of self-respect and dignity she commands in her family,
Yeah.
the kind of satisfaction you get, I don't think any money or power can bring that. um, so
I always feel, yeah, no, sorry, I want to say I always feel that somehow a lot of us who've been whatever educated, in urban or whatever, we feel, oh, we need to go to the villages to help the women there or anything. I always feel it's the other way around. I always tell this story of we went to one of the microcredit organizations, and these women get these loans, right? So this woman had a wood business. They sell firewood. So she was sitting in the office, but her husband was making. I mean, he was like selling, making all the decisions and stuff. So I felt a little bit like, she took the money, but he's the one calling all the shots. So when we met her, kind of when we were alone, I asked her. I said, "Look, you took the money, then why is he making all the decisions?" She like looked straight at me and said, "He works for me." So she's like, why should I be out there in the sun doing all this? Let him do it. I'm sitting in this cold office. I am the boss. I was like so blown away because, we have such a wrong perspective sometimes, where we think, oh my God, we got to go save them or whatever. It's nothing. Actually, they know exactly what they're doing. In fact, as I was saying, when I talk to some of my cousins or nieces, I fight with them saying, why don't you have economic independence when you're a housewife of somebody who's making so much money? Because they'll be like, oh, but it's not my money. I mean, it just, we got it all wrong. I feel there's so much to learn from these women because they don't need any help. They just need avenues. That's all. They just don't need any help in their thinking. They're just out there. So one of the questions, Reema Ben, is Anjana is asking, can I apply for an internship at SEWA? If so, what is the process to do so?
Sure, I think we always welcome interns, and I think the best way is that she writes to our administrative officer at seva.org, and I'm sure you will get a response. It may
Yeah.
not be prompt, but the response will definitely come.
Well, actually, you know what? I actually read the question wrong. Deepthi was asking, have you ever felt that you shouldn't have left IAS?
No, I did not. I never at all. In fact, when I meet some of my batchmates, feel that I am so very fortunate and I'm so free.
Yeah.
While they have, they may be joint secretaries, whatever positions, chairman and MD and everything. But so many shackles and so much of,
Mm-hmm.
um, you can't do anything out of the way. You do understand that this is not the right thing, and yet you
Yeah.
have to quietly just let that happen the way it should not
Yeah.
be happening. And I think I feel that rather than having that injustice perpetuate, um,
Mm-hmm.
what I am doing is far more what I call it as what you were saying, Lakshmi Man, was the economic freedom, which we call it as our second freedom.
Yeah.
How women can have freedom from hunger and starvation and enjoy a life with dignity and self-respect. And then
Yeah.
see not just 50 or 100, but thousands of women. I think the kind of satisfaction and joy you get. And when
Mm-hmm.
you celebrate their joy, when you are together in their sorrow, it becomes like
Mm-hmm.
a family.
And also, I think when you see somebody's, the distance they travel, not necessarily the height they have reached, but the distance they traveled, it's very satisfactory. Like you're saying, when this woman who's now an entrepreneur is on a mission with the president of India and feels that she's empowered to be there. I think that freedom of the mind is most important than anything else. And especially in the Herky community, I think that's what the community is all about, is working women coming together to keep each other up, to support each other, because we do need that support function. Someone's asking, Jagdishwari is asking, it's wonderful to see you, ma'am. I'm from Hyderabad. Can I work for SEWA from here?
Yeah, definitely. We can always work remotely. We always need people who can help us with data analysis, with documentation. So those are the skills which I think we would really be looking
Mhm.
for.
Yeah. There's a question here, and, from an anonymous attendee, and it's a question I had also, is that what are some of the initiatives that did not work well? What new challenges do you foresee in the next 10 years?
No, I think it's a very good question, and definitely we at SEWA call it as our constructive struggle. So, over these years, what we have learned is that it takes about 18 months or 2 years in any new area or any new trade to take roots, about 3 to 5 years for the enterprise to really become strong, and 7 years for it to become economically self-sustaining, at the most 10 years. If it still does not become self-sustaining, we take a very critical review. Whether there is a possibility of restructuring it, how do you restructure? If not, we close down the enterprises as well. And but we don't give up. So we wherever we see that some things did not work, then we sit back, we analyze, reflect, and then we start it. And it may take 14 years, 15 years, but till that is resolved, we don't give up. So that's why we call it as our constructive struggle. Some of the areas where I think we immediately did not get success was how do you link the vegetable growers from the rural areas to the vegetable vendors in the cities. And, we tried because we thought that, oh, they are our rural members and connecting them to the urban members. No, but, it needed a whole different kind of what value add are you bringing to the vendors? What value add are you bringing to the growers? And we did not hear the customers at all. Because, a customer needs a whole basket. While your vegetable growers may be growing only two kinds of vegetables, and you bring those to the city, but the vendors are saying my customers need a whole range of baskets. So therefore, I have to go back to the market. And that made us really understand that how do you build a whole supply chain where you not only link your growers from one district or one state, but across the country, and what kind of investment that would need, what kind of know-how, what kind of a cold chain one has to. So those are the learnings that come, and then we take a look whether do we have that capability and do we need to do that, or how do you address some of the issues of the vendors and the growers, that what they are doing right now, let's not disturb that, but in that process only, how do you increase their earnings? So that is how we learn our lessons. Lakshmi, you're on mute.
The reason I was in mute is that I'm in Los Angeles and I just saw one fire thing go off.
Oh,
Not fire, just some alarm go off, so I turned it up. No, I just want to, as we wrap up, one of the questions I have for you is that I've seen 11, and for you, your work is not work, it's fun. I mean, you have that relaxes you, and I've been in your houses when there are other women, and it's like there is no separation of work and life actually. It all blends in. And and have there been situations where you felt exhausted or tired, or my god, this policy we wanted is not happening, like some frustration that you have of things not moving the way you want or something? And w- what do you do when you get stressed, or do you ever get stressed at all?
as you rightly said, we don't see this work as work.
Yes.
When what you do gives you so much of joy and satisfaction, I don't think it leads to stress. Yeah, frustration at times. But when we go back to our members and, oh my God, she has innumerable struggles and challenges day in and day out. But if she's still so hopeful, why am I getting frustrated? I tell myself, and then I come back. So I
Yeah.
think for me, sitting in the office is very frustrating
Yeah.
because then you are, sort of looking at all the emails that come and looking at meeting your colleagues and who bring all difficult things and what they've not been able to do and this, and then I tell them all that let's go to the field, let's go to the village, and we will find some solution from there and come back. So
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest approach to how do you address when you are
Yeah.
in difficult times. When we
Yeah.
had the most challenging time that our values were getting sort of attacked, and we had to really take a decision that, do we compromise on the values? And I'm so proud when our executive committee, without even blinking, they said, no, we will think that this is a sacrifice, let money go away. But nobody can take away our hard work. We will think that one more route here, and, you know, if we bounce back as a stronger organization, for 9 months, not even a single member asked for any remuneration. But it made us a self-sustaining and a stronger
Mm-hmm.
union. So I think And when my sons were born, I was very clear that I would take them wherever I go till they were allowed from their school, so
Mm-hmm.
that they will understand that their mother is not going on a joyride or having a holiday, and either they would love and respect the work or they may not approve of what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so fortunate that they both love the work I do, they respect it, so I think,
Yeah.
and so they are also seen as members of the larger Seva family, so I think
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's a really important thing to wrap up on is that we always feel, okay, the child has comes out to stop everything and focus on the child instead of taking the child with you to what you're doing. Yes, if you're in a corporate job, you may or may not be, but even there, I think things are changing. And I really found, I mean, even for me, my son always came with me to meetings. And to this day, my friends joke about they remember meetings we had around an office table where my son would be sitting on his, little baby chair. And, the kids actually adapt
that.
very well to parents if they see what the parents are doing and the importance of it. I think for women especially, it's very important to instead of putting yourself out of a job with the kid, take the kid to the job. I mean, integrate something is really, really beautiful that you have done. And I think this is one thing we can learn from all the rural women is how they don't have the luxury to say, I won't work and I won't, take care of my child. They have to manage everything. So there's a lot to learn, and thank you so much. I really want to say one of the reasons I was very keen to have you is that while we talk about corporate world, while we talk about corporate life, we have so much to learn from our rural entrepreneurs, especially from the women. And we didn't have time to talk, but you're not only in India, you're in Afghanistan, you're in other Sri Lanka and other places. And the more obstacles there are, the more problems there are, the more resilient the women are. So I agree with you that a lot of times when we have frustration or whatever, I keep saying this is a first world problem, like it's got nothing to do with drought or, not having a home to stay or something. So thank you so much for doing the work that you do and changing the lives of millions of women. And please go to the website. You'll find a lot of things there. You can connect with people there, etc. So thank you so much for your time,
Thank
Reema.
you, and I think you have
Yeah,
given the voice and visibility to these 3.2 million members. So a
yeah,
huge gratitude and appreciation
yeah.
for bringing me in. Thank you so much.
Yes, and I think there's a lot our community can learn, the Harki community and the corporate women's community can learn from these women and their stories and their resilience. I think it's truly a reverse mentorship that's actually needed. So thank you so
I'll
much.
just end by singing a song which we always do at Seva, and I don't
Yes.
know if I sing in English or in Hindi, but I'll just
Doesn't matter, whatever you choose. And
so
that's
it's a
good because I have to tell you that long time ago, this is almost 25 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, I interviewed Ela Ben at our office in American India Foundation. And at the end, I asked her, what is something about you that people don't know? She said, oh, I took music lessons. So I said, can you sing? And she was like, no, 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 I didn't mean to say it. I said, no, but we made her sing. So this is a wonderful way to end to have you sing.
thank you, thank you. No, it is we shall overcome, we shall overcome,
Um,
we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in our hearts, we do believe we shall overcome.
someday.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.